Alright, so right now we're playing with the amps, the amp board specifically. So let's show you how we're going to lay it all out. Alright, so like I said, this is going to be the biggest badass system I've ever put in anything. But right here, we're going to have a battery here, battery terminals, and it'll come off the battery, go into a junction block, come out of there, go into the capacitor, off of the capacitor, go over through this fuse, and zigzag over to that amp. So that's the big amp, gets that big capacitor. And the other one will come out of this one and go up and around and over to this capacitor. It'll come out of that capacitor, go through this fuse, turn, go into the amp. So that will wire both amps with the battery and the capacitors. And then you've got the power inverter, which has a double positive and negative. So that's actually two lines, but we'll come from right here with the positive, drop, go around and around to this block, and then we'll take the negative from here up and around this way, up and around over here, and to the battery. So that's how we're going to lay that out. So now I got to make all these little short cables to connect everything with ends and eyelets and everything. That's always fun. So we'll continue on and we'll show you what we got later on. But basically this is going to be mounted. Now I'll put some 2x4s or something up under it to space it up off the floor, and then I may drill some holes and run the wires down under. I don't know yet, either that or I might just make them all pretty on the top. But this will be under the driver's seat in the back. So right behind the driver's seat on the floor, you know, spaced up from the floor in the kick panels. That's where this is going to be housed at. So that's how that's going down. Now we have the amp board and the capacitors and everything all in place where they're going to be. Got a little bit of gap back there against the wall. Got plenty of clearance all the way around, because down here we're putting some kind of a battery. Now we've got the amp board all installed. Everything's all wired and everything except for putting a battery over here on the side and hooking the wires up to that. And then I've got another cable already made to go from the battery to the front battery to the back battery. I gotta do ground wire, and that'll about be it for. I've got all the preamps, whatever you call it. Got that stuff all hooked up, wired. You can see the 4-gauge speaker wiring right there that runs back to the good old subwoofer, which we don't have the sub itself, but I do have the subwoofer box, which there you can kind of take a look at that. Got wires running down, everything that I'll tuck up. Once I have all the sidewalls and everything made, then I'll tuck all that wiring up. And we still have speakers to install up there. We've got speaker wires running back there for 2 more in the back wall. We've got speaker wires running up here for 2 up in the front. That's the green cable there is the main hot that comes from the front battery to the back battery. Extra speaker wires, So that's what we got going on today. Now, you want to talk about something crazy? Look at all those capacitors. I mean, I had to build a box around it because I'm scared of that thing arcing out. But I talked to a stereo guy that Crock is dealing with, and he said, don't worry about it. Just hook it up like a regular amp. Okay. I still have to take these back apart and put my little caps on. Put more screws in that and everything. And then I still have to make the screws that mount this whole thing down to the ground. Right now it's just sitting there. But in all honesty, it weighs enough that it's not going to go anywhere. So that thing is so big that I had to put it on a dolly to get it out here, as you could tell by the videos. So that's all for right now. We'll be back in a little bit. Now it's time for some paint. Now I've got the big piece outside that still needs to be done. Gotta finish scrubbing it first. Don't forget to clear your can. And hey, YouTubers, don't forget to hit that little subscribe button and maybe even that little ding ding bell thing. That way you get updated and you know what's going on right after I do it. So tune in, there's more to come. The party starts here.